Hello, sewing people of the internet. So this weekend, my wife and I went camping for the third time this year so far, I think. While we were on that trip, it occurred to me just how many things I was using on the trip that I sewed. And I thought it would just be fun to share with you how many MYOG items I used on the trip. Sure, part of this is probably just patting my own ego to say, look how awesome I am. But I really hope that what you get out of it is perhaps some inspiration to, maybe you're not sure what to make, and maybe you'll see a little simple pouch or project that you can use. I've said this over the years, but there is very little that's more satisfying than using something that you made and knowing that you can rely on it, and especially things that you've been using for years. If you're new to the channel, this is Bobbin. I don't film at home as much anymore, so he doesn't steal the show as often, but he's the real star of this channel. So right after I recorded this video, I realized that it was exactly 5 years ago to the day that I shot this footage of Bobbin. I'm even wearing the same t-shirt, although it's so faded now you can't see it anymore. Anyway, so I'm just going to show you all the stuff I used. Might be a couple of honorable mentions of things that I brought that didn't actually get used, but most of this is stuff that actually had my hands on it while I was on the trip. So the first thing is a no-brainer. I have this pack with me every day. If not this one, then the gray one that I made as a prototype. Again, if you're new to the channel, I made a 5-part tutorial series on making a roll top backpack. And this is the pack that was the result of the tutorial. Had a couple of changes since I did the tutorial, but basically I've been carrying either it or the prototype bag pretty much daily ever since, and that's been 4 years or more at this point. I'll have to look, but I carry this every day. This has nothing to do with my camping trip, but if you're interested, this pack has an integrated laptop sleeve. I didn't bring the laptop with me on this trip, but this is with me all the time. And the reason it's with me all the time is I carry stuff in it that might be useful. On this particular trip, this little pouch here, which is made out of 1680D ballistic nylon, is what I keep charging cables and earbuds in, and obviously those things all came in handy. Well, maybe it's not obvious, but I was using the earbuds to watch YouTube videos in the tent, and of course charging cables to charge stuff. This is a pouch I made fairly recently. It's kind of a Maxpedition style pouch for carrying everyday carry items. And I actually did have to break into this to get my multi-tool out to do a quick repair to our rooftop tent. So this actually got to see use. This is one of those things that, it's with me all the time and doesn't necessarily get used, but that's kind of the point. This pack has some flaws, and I keep meaning to make a new version to change some of those flaws, but it works. So this is one of the honorable mention items. This is just a little mesh pouch that I made a long time ago, maybe 8 to 10 years ago. Very simple little zip pouch. But I keep things like extra sunscreen and migraine. I very rarely get migraines, so I have some Excedrin in here just in case that happens. And most importantly, though, is I keep extra contact lenses in here, and that's important because last week we were camping also, and we were an hour away from home when I realized I forgot to pack contact lenses. So fortunately I had just enough in this pouch that I keep with me every day just as spares to get me through the trip. So honorable mention for that guy. Two somewhat surprising items, maybe to some of you who have been watching for a long time, is I made some shorts and pants. So if you don't follow me on Instagram, you might not have seen this, but Learn MYOG has a pattern for shorts called the Dias Do-It-All shorts. And I'm planning on making a pair, maybe doing some adaptations to use as running shorts for my upcoming 50-mile run in the Keys in May. And so this is the first muslin that I made, literally out of cotton muslin fabric. And I've ended up using these almost daily just to kind of lounge around the house shorts. They're really nice. I'm really impressed with how well they turned out. All credit to Learn MYOG. I just followed the pattern. So yeah, these are really cool. And then I was inspired by those shorts before making a real pair of shorts. I thought, I wonder if I could make a pair of pants out of them. So I made this. This is just some kind of canvas that I had in my stash. I have no idea what it is. But these are awesome, like casual camp pants. Not really like for like lightweight backpacking, or they're pretty heavy. But for car camping, these are awesome, and I wear them around the house and stuff a lot too. So both of those got worn on this trip. Because I'm training for the aforementioned run, I had to bring running gear with me, which meant this new duffel bag that I made recently. This thing is awesome. Like, I didn't really know when I made the video about this bag how much I was going to like this bag. This is one of the more useful bags I've ever made. If you didn't see the video where I made it, it has a nice double zip opening and holds all the gear I need for running or clothes to wear after a run, depending on how I'm using it. Awesome bag. So I had to run a half marathon on our camping trip as my training run for the weekend, and I used my running vest that's based on the Learn MYOG trail running backpack. This is a pack I started and didn't finish for about 4 years, and finally finished it. Made a lot of modifications to it. It's substantially different from the pattern that Learn MYOG makes, but the parts that I use from that pattern are awesome. This thing is the most comfortable hydration vest thing I've ever had, and I'm getting ready to make another version of this with a few other changes. But if you're a runner and you like to MYOG, then this is definitely a project I would put on your radar. But anyway, that got used, as well as this hip pack, fanny pack, whatever we're calling them. I made this a couple of years ago based on an Instagram post, and it's turned out to be my favorite pack to wear for long runs, where I want to carry my phone and a couple other items that I want to keep handy. On a short run I don't wear this, but on long runs this is an awesome extra feature. Also planning on a new one of these for my upcoming run. But anyway, that got used this weekend as well. I also have this waxed canvas hip pack, fanny pack, whatever. If you don't know, I hate the name fanny pack, and in the UK and other English-speaking countries it has a very different meaning from what we mean in the US, so it's kind of offensive. But that's what we call it in the US, and that's what the name people know it by, but I don't like it, so I stumble over it every time. Anyway, this one is made out of waxed canvas with cork on the front, and this is the one I use if I'm wearing pants that don't have pockets or don't have enough pockets for the stuff I carry regularly. I don't wear this like all the time, but sometimes if I'm wearing, you know, after workout gear and something particularly casual, going paddleboarding, that kind of thing. So anyway, I wore this on the way to the trip, I think. But anyway, that's another thing that got used. And then there's this big thing. So this is the prototype duffel bag that I made when I made a really big, even bigger than this, duffel bag for a very, very good friend of mine who's going on an epic, like, once-in-a-lifetime road trip. That bag is still, I'll put a card in the corner, that bag is one of the greatest things I've ever made in any medium, but particularly sewn. It really, really turned out very, very well. But before I made that bag, I wanted to experiment with a couple of the ideas for the bag, so I made this bag, and I just use it now because it's not perfect. There's some things that I would like to change, but it works quite well. There's a pocket on the front that I use to keep headlamps and other small items organized. I can get to them relatively quickly. Thank you, buddy. And then a main compartment for all the other stuff, including my backpacking quilt. Hi, buddy. In this context, a quilt is basically a sleeping bag with no zipper that you just drape over you. You don't sleep completely in it. I guess the technical definition of a quilt is 2 layers of fabric with some kind of filler in between, you know, batting or whatever. But I'll show you this thing. I just want to say I made this from a kit in like 2006, and it's a great kit, and I'm not going to name the maker of the kit. They're still in business. They started marketing at least one item that puts them squarely in charlatan territory for me, and I don't want to promote them. You can probably figure it out if you look, but there's probably other kits available. I haven't looked. I don't know if Rip Stuff by the Roll has a quilt kit or not, but there's plenty of ways you can find out how to make a quilt if you're interested in doing it. This one is filled with synthetic insulation. It's not down. A lot of people prefer down because it's more packable. I don't really backpack very much anymore. I have backpacked with this quilt, and it does take up a lot more room. But anyway, the stuff sack was another kit from the same people. But again, very easy to figure out how to make a stuff sack from other sources if you want to. So I will say this, I've had this since 2006. I have never used another sleeping bag or sleeping bag like thing ever since. So it's 18 years old now. I don't camp that regularly, but I mean, I've had this out at least a couple of dozen times in many different situations. I've had it down to about 26 degrees Fahrenheit. I think it's the coldest I've ever slept in it. Sleep in my hammock in it. I sleep in a rooftop tent, on the ground, whatever I'm doing. This is my go-to, and it's been awesome. This is a toiletry bag I made a few years ago. Obviously, also it got used. I stole this double zipper idea from the pouch that a bicycle light I had came in, and I adapted this to the running duffel bag that you saw a few minutes ago. But just a awesome toiletry bag. I don't have all the stuff that I normally keep in. It holds exactly what I need to bring with me. You know, obviously one could make one of these any size they wanted. I really like the double zip feature because it's super quick to access, and you get a nice wide opening to be able to rummage through and find what you need. So I've been using this for 8 or 9 years and used it once again. This stuff sack was the subject of a how to make a stuff sack video I did 8 or 9 years ago. If you want to see the cat that ran my life before Bobbin came into my life, then you can check out the video for this. I'll put a card in the corner. I use this now almost exclusively as my dirty laundry bag whenever we travel. And that's what's in here now, in case you're wondering. I guess another honorable mention, I did bring my hammock. I usually camp in a hammock if we are not car camping. Once my wife bought a rooftop tent, that's pretty much all we do. But I had this with me in case I had an opportunity to just lounge in it, and it just never happened. But still rocking this thing after about 11 years. And the last thing I'll mention is also an honorable mention because we ended up not using it because there was a bunch of food trucks at the event we were at. But this is a knife roll that I made. This will probably be the most recent video on the channel as you're watching this. I made this to carry our steak knives that we use while we're... I made this to carry a couple of steak knives that we have with us in our cook kit. And like I said, I didn't get to use it this time, but it's ready for next time. So maybe I'll put a total down here in text. I wasn't counting as I went by, but that's all the items that I used on a weekend away camping. I'm curious to know, do you have more items that you use or fewer items? Are there items that you think you would use that you haven't made yet that maybe you're inspired to make after seeing this? Let me know in the comments below what you think. If you have questions about anything in particular that I didn't make a video about that you're curious about, maybe I can do a tutorial on some of these items. Not the quilt, that's way too much work. Anyway, I hope you found that informative or entertaining or something. You know you can subscribe and click like and all that great stuff. And I appreciate all of you for watching. See you in an upcoming video. Thanks. Man, that feels good. Hi. Do you mind if I walk by? I don't like you having your head up like that. Thank you, buddy.